going to close that little bit here. We are recording again. This one is for building weekly lessons in Google Slides. We started earlier, and so I just want you to see this right here. The earlier video was on making these choice boards. These are not the prettiest choice boards out there, but it was a good demo of what the choice boards could look like. So what I wanted to do was to be able to take something like this and then make it into a weekly lesson. How do I pull all of my resources together, or most of my resources together, so that when I'm in something like Google Classroom, I'm not having to do an assignment or a new post or a new link and having the kids have to go back to this one to then go back to answer this one, then go back to answer this one, to go back to answer this one. It's very overwhelming. And I know for you, when you're grading on it as well, it's hard to see the full scope and picture of what it is that people are doing. And so I'm also going to pull up some things that people have shared with me, because I'm just so excited about what I've seen people doing. All right, so this one is one of their earlier examples. This is Peak, so ignore some of the things that don't apply to you. But they have a lovely little title slide, and then they have a video that they can go in and watch the video. Then they have their schedule for what's happening during the week, when they can contact their teacher. Then they have directions. And then notice they have little things, and you can see them down this side. I know it's kind of hard to see in the little pictures, but you can see that they've got Monday, what's happening on Monday, and then it changes to Tuesday, and then they'll have a little thing. Now, for older kids, this might be okay. One thing that I would say for younger kids is, if you can color code so that they know when their day is ended, that could be really great for them. Okay, making sure that they have some visual cues to really hone in on what they need to accomplish for the day. Our brains are taxed right now, and giving them one more little cue is going to be helpful. So I might not do everything in the same color. I might actually say every Monday is green, every Tuesday is red, every Wednesday is blue, and just kind of mix it up so that there is a continuity to what you're doing. There's a continuation that helps them kind of build a schedule and visually clue them into what it is that you want them to do.
Tracy, we can't see your screen. We see you.
Well, that's really helpful. Thanks.
Thank you.
This will be a lot more helpful. Okay, so there we go. This is what happens when you have too many things on your screen. Okay, so we'll try that again. So again, here is the title. She has her video, she has her schedule, she has the directions for what she wants to do. And you can see that hers is all, every week she chooses a different color. And so all I was saying is, I would probably say the Monday slides should probably be one color, Tuesday should be another color, Wednesday, and so on. Now she has 29 slides. That's a lot of slides. It may or may not be that many slides when we get done. But she's doing instructional slides and their work slides all together. And so you can see on this one, the kids would come in and be able to type their answer. And so there's just kind of some fun ways to being able to play with different things, so they can click on their articles and go out and read the articles. They've got their videos. Again, they can come in right along with different things. But you can see a lot of this is, then you've got instructional things that go out to other things. And so she's got it where you've got to make a copy. And if you do not know how to make a copy to make this happen for your kids, all you do is take everything after here where it says edit and then the gobbledygook, you take edit on and put copy there. It's the best thing ever. So then kids would make their copy of their work. Now just know that if they're making copies though, it's not shared back with you. Whereas this document, if I put this whole thing into my Google Classroom and put it as a slide for each one, everything in here if it's on this page, is duplicated for them. What is not duplicated for them is if it's a hyperlink to something, it's the same hyperlink for everyone. So they're not creating a new hyperlink shared with each one of them. So if you were going to have them do an assignment, it would need to be something like this, or actually have them do the assignment straight into the document itself. Is that better? So again, she's got lots of videos. She has questions and things that she wants you to do. She has a place to type, a checklist, and things like that. So this, again, is just her example of what she had already done. Again, she's got links to different things. So when you're building all of this, then obviously it would be your information as well. So the main thing I was thinking was that since there's...
Casey.
Yes.
No, we can't see your screen. We don't see what you're presenting. We just see
it now.
Do you have me pinned accidentally? If you click on my face and click off my face, if there's a little pin on it, it will only show my face. So if you don't want to see my face, you have to unpin it sometimes. It can accidentally get done. But I have it in presentation mode.
Got
Is that better?
Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
cool.
Sorry.
Okay, cool. No, I'd much rather you stop me ahead of time. All right, so this one, like I said, we created it. If you're wanting to see that, go back to the earlier video, but we kind of played around with it. And so one of the things that we talked about was this one right here is actually hyperlinked to slide 2. In the slide 2, it already has the chart. And, you know, if you wanted to do more, you could always duplicate the slide and do one or the other. So say I want this one here and I want that one there, then you still have that option or whatever to kind of play around with. And you can have what you need them to do off to the side, much like she was doing. But this is just pictures and not even good pictures of the PDFs. If I was doing it online, if you actually download them, you can get a full picture of it and actually see the entire screen without the little extra bits getting in the way. But then when I'm in here, all of these are hyperlinked out, but these are hyperlinked to the actual slides. And so that can kind of be a way of giving them places back and forth. And so that I find will help something like this be a little less confusing for kids. So if I'm at the end of Thursday, I could have a home button. It would take me back to my choice board. Those sorts of things can be done. And so to do that, I just put it in a picture by going to Insert Image from the web. I searched for a house image, and then I inserted it in, and then I took that one and hyperlinked and put what slide I wanted it to go back to for the home. And I can just copy and paste that on any of the slides that I want it to go to, and that just helps kids navigate a little bit better. Otherwise, we started with this. You can come in and put your pieces in, much like she was doing here. You just may want to simplify a little bit. I know she's doing extensions as well as the curriculum. So I think I started with one of these. So let's look at... okay, so some of these are already created for you as well. So please don't go in and recreate the wheel if you don't have to. And I'm noticing this week that a lot of the things are PDFs. And so as they've already been created, I'm actually going to come in and go to File, and I'm going to go to Page Setup. And I'm going to make it a custom screen of 8.5 by 11, because then the PDFs are going to be full pages. It's going to mess up my choice board just a little bit, but again, I can take my choice board and I can select all of these little lovelies, and I can move them around or format them a little bit. Okay, come on. I want you to work. Why is it not working? We do it that way. There we go. All right. So then I want to pull that up and make them look better. And maybe you have more things. Oh, I didn't select that one. He didn't get moved. More things in it. You might want to make them bigger, that sort of thing. But then I can make my pages bigger in here for their screen. And then the other thing I can do, because like this week, I'm using a third grade example. So you can kind of see that I've pulled up several of the third grade pieces right here. And so they have this one, they have this one, and this one. So these two, since they're already created, I might actually just want to pull that slide in. And so then I'm going to actually come, I would make a copy of that, and I would import the slides. And so let's see, I did not make a copy of that yet, so I don't have one. So let's make a copy. Sorry, I have to go all the way back to get a copy of it. Okay, so now I've got my copy of it. What's nice is I can either go to something that I already have examples of or use from someone else's, or I can say I want to go to the title of, as long as I know what it's called, okay, I can search for it and click on the one I want. And I can say I want to import that slide, and anything within there is just going to automatically be imported. Okay, so now I have that and I can move that around. So then there's one of the ones that she put in there, and you can see that it's hers because it's got the little box on it. So I'll get rid of the box because it's mine now. I'm the one who owns this one. But I can do that for any of the stuff that they've already created for me. I can just insert that in. And then if it's like this one where it's the Word doc, I can just come in, take the text, copy and paste them into my document as well. So then I'll go to new slide, put my text. Okay, and I can play around with that as I need to. Now, if you'll notice on the ones that she did, a lot of the times when it was something that students were going to have to interact with, she would put a text box over the top of it and sometimes make this a background, which you absolutely can do. So the difference between a background and a picture would be, see, this is movable, but it doesn't really matter because the kids aren't interacting with this one. This one, the kids are interacting with them, so I actually want a text box so that they can type in it, but I don't want them moving the back. So you can see that this one is a background, okay? So the same thing can be done with this sort of thing. You would just need to make a screen snip of it by using your snipping tool and taking a picture of it, okay? I can save my picture as check for understanding. Save, and then I can pull, I guess, all of that off and put my background as an image. I can upload my image, and I just saved it to pictures. There's my check for understanding, and done. And now see that this is all not movable. It is the background of my page, okay? Now, with that said, I need to put in my text boxes for them to come in. I typically will give it a different color so that they know that there's something there instead of writing text or type your answer here. You could do whatever you wanted, whatever suits you and your learners. Okay, so then that makes easy response areas for them to come in and interact. Just whatever you choose to do it consistently. That's the main thing, is consistency allows kids to have the security of knowing this is what is expected of me. I understand what's expected and I know what I'm supposed to do right now. So that's a way of just kind of thinking through. So again, I could then make sure that I have all my video pieces in here. I could do like she did, where she did her instructions back and forth. Or something like this, where I can just say on the front screen, have my directions in a little text box, and hopefully yours would look better than mine does right now. So then I can have my text box that says, use this slide to see all the videos for this week, to access the text we are reading, and then follow along on the next slides to see the work you will be completing. All right, so then again, all that can be there as a way of saying, okay, keep going. And then you'd be able to kind of play around with what instructions you wanted them to do based off of that. And so you can put as much or little as you want to. I just wanted you to kind of see some examples. I have, let's see, find my little folder again that has all of my stuff in it. That one is not it. Okay. Here's just some of the stuff that has been kind of played around with. So this is one example where we pulled in, so you can see the difference between this one and this one. If it's a gray box, you type in it. This one, they can come in and start writing. This one, they just need one section of it. So again, it was just using the gray boxes as a way of saying what you wanted them to do. That was just the pages there. I think that's the one I already shared with you. So this was a 5th grade example, same teacher. So again, she's got her directions. You can see that she just chose a different color for all of them. And she sent me one I thought that had a movable piece, but so one of the interactive pieces that we've been kind of playing around with, this is a good example because it's already done for you, but basically you pull the interactive pieces out to be able to have manipulatives. Okay. And so to create that sort of thing, we're going to go to a new slide. And I'm going to click out of here. So to do quick interactives, I can do anything on the background, but I would make it a picture and make it your background. So if you're going to have boxes, you're going to have a table that they're sorting into. You want them to have, count objects on the page and move them. I would definitely suggest having something that's solid on the background that allows them to not move anything but the stuff that you want them to move. Then you'll come in and you'll put your pictures in. So this time we are going to do a tree. Doesn't really matter what the tree looks like. Our little tree is going to go in here. So there's my tree. And I'm going to need a apple or a basket first. Let's do a basket. Here's my basket. Okay. These would be my background. Okay, so I would take a snipping tool of this and make it my background. Right? Just doing the choose image and doing it that way. And then I can come in and do more manipulatives. And this time I'm going to do some apples. And we're going to do a counting activity. And I want just a single apple, so I probably should have just said apple instead. There is, I wonder if that'll be a good one. Not a great example because it has the white around it, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time trying to find the apples. I don't know where you came from, but we're going to use you. Drag 4 apples to the tree. Then I would take my manipulative, right? And I'm going to hit Control D to duplicate my manipulative. Okay, so if I move those, you can see, like I said, that was not a good example of the manipulatives because it has a background. I should have chosen a better apple. But then I would have my apples, okay, and I can have as many of them as I want. I can also pull my manipulatives off of the canvas and pull them to the side. So they do not have to be on the canvas to be used, just depending on the age of your students and what's needed or whatever. Okay, so then they would be able to, again, everything in the background would be not movable. So then all the manipulatives would be the things that were movable, and then they could drag and do the counting exercise to drag the apples onto the tree to see if they got the concept. Okay, so we are going to close that one. Another one that we did was a, let's see, I have to remember which week I did it in. That's not it. I want the planet sort. There we go. So there's planet sort. So this one, I actually have to make the speaker notes a little bit bigger so that you can see everything. So I have one column here, and you are going to drag that one to the planet. Okay, and so then I can drag and sort the items onto it, but I can't drag my planets. I can't take anything because those are a picture that have been made into my background. And then these are just text box to the side. Okay. I could also make them pictures. So if you don't want the kids messing with the text, you could do that as well. I just went ahead and put them as text boxes that they could move around. So that is kind of some of those sorting activities that you can make them interactive fairly easily. Again, this was just a PDF, and I just took the text from them, made the text boxes, and made them all fit into my table. Okay. So that would make it easier to then throw that into my weekly slide and say, I just want to then import the slides that I'm creating or create them right within here based off of the ones. So cut and paste activities make it kind of hard when kids don't always have access to printers and things like that. So this still allows them to do that kind of thinking of moving the pieces around without having access to all those things all the time. All right, so the next thing I wanted to share, I'm going to check the chat and make sure that we're okay. I didn't hear anything, so I want to make sure. Is checklists. And so I'd heard about this a couple times. And I thought it was really interesting that they were doing some checklists to be able to give kids an idea at the beginning of the week or at the beginning of the lesson what was happening. And so I put a couple examples together for you. So this one is a daily one. I think that's too much to keep up with, but I took that as a starting place to make a weekly one. So again, you've got, how are you feeling? What is your goal? They can put an X when they've completed items down the line. And then they can tell you what maybe they've done this week. Okay, so that's one option. And then I found that in the checklist, this was the coolest thing. And I know this is just me kind of nerding out just a little bit, but they can do interactive check boxes when they do it in the sheets. And when you do this, it'll actually cross it off the list for them. So That was pretty cool. So to get your check boxes though, I'm going to do it over here so you can see, and I'm going to actually scroll in so you can see a little bit bigger. Right? Like I was so excited about it. I was like, I have to show them this. This is going to be the best thing ever. I get too excited about things though. So when I select a cell, I'm actually going to take it and go down to the very bottom where it says data validation. When I hit that, where it says criteria, I'm going to select checkbox and then save. And that pulls in my checkbox. And so I can take that and say, I want everything in my list to have a checkbox. And I can put my checkboxes in. I can also drag it this way and do checks this way if you want them this way as well. So that's how that dragging technique works. Then when I'm making my list, of course, I can say, check here. And then to make those cross off, what I do is I select the cell that I want to cross out the information to. And this time I'm going to go to the one right above it that says conditional formatting. When I hit conditional formatting, notice that it's telling me it's applying to the range of H4. So you can see H4. So play Battleship for a second. H4, I'm going to say that I want it to be a custom formula. The custom formula is really difficult, y'all. Equals. Then I want to find the box. So that's G4. Equals true. And then I can make it bold, italic, underline, strike through, which is what I chose. And I can make it colored, or this time I just chose not to have it change the color because I already had colored boxes and I didn't want that to get confused, but I can change its color as well. So I can give the text a different color. I can do all of that, but it's going to happen when I check the box. So then what I'm going to do is hit done. And then I'm going to take my rule that I've created here, and I'm going to take that little box the same way, and I'm going to drag it down. Okay, so what it is changing now is that each time one of these happens, whatever's in here is going to get checked off. So then I can come in and say what it is that I want them to do. So to do item 1, to do item, do item, do item, all the way down. Notice I'm not dragging this one because I do not want to drag away my conditional formatting. Okay, so then when I come over here and I check my box, that's going to strike through. So it's really not that hard. You just have to know where to find it. So I thought that was pretty fun. Plus, I made one to already give you an idea of what that could look like, and give you an idea of what those checklists look like, because I know that this is something I've heard a lot from parents is give me a checklist that I know what I'm supposed to be accomplishing for the week, because there's just so many things. So if I know what is, needed. Yeah, the check boxes. Okay, so it took me a little while to find that too. To make these the right color, you're actually making it the text. It's not the cell. So it's the text itself is what changes the box's colors. So if you want them to be fun colors, then you come in and do it this way. And so that's how you get because otherwise it changes the whole thing and it just looks muddy. So I didn't like that as much. So kind of fun. Do you share the entire Sheets page? I didn't read it fast enough. Or copy and paste it. Okay, so once I've made the spreadsheet, I'm going to make sure that I have the information that I need, right? So we'll delete all that. So I have this, and I'm saying, okay, this is going to be the week of May 4 through 8, getting ready for next week. I would leave the name blank for the kids, but then I would take this checklist and I would put it in my Google Classroom and then make a copy for each student. That way they would get this all on their own, and each student would have their own. If you're not using Google Classroom and you're just wanting to share it, then I would do anyone with the link can view. Take that link, copy it, and then before you send it, paste it so that you can edit it. And I'm going to make that bigger so I can see the whole thing. And I'm going to take everything at this bottom area right here. I'm going to take all of that and put the word copy. Now, when I go to that, it's going to give me this screen. Now, that doesn't share it back with you, but that does give them the checklist. That's all their own. Now, if you're wanting to do it so that, you know, we just learned how to do 1 week's worth of stuff in here. So what if I want my checklist to go in here? You can still do it there. It's just going to look, let's see, do I have one? It's just going to look more like these. So I could put that into my slide. Thought I had one in slides already. I'm going to put a new slide here. Oh, that made it really pretty. One is their own little thing. All right. That did not copy everything either. That's really fun. Obviously, that's not going to work. Oh, that's fun. Maybe just build it in there. I didn't like my boxes so much. Because this one, it was just to hit X, or they could color the box, or, you know, something like that, that let you know it was done. They're not as exciting as the colored boxes in the spreadsheet. Now, technically you can put, so that might be a way of doing it as well. You can insert a chart from Sheets, but I wonder if it'll do it or not, right? No, it doesn't have. So it'll only do it if it's made into a chart. So if the graphs are there. And it doesn't give you an update unless you update it each time. And the kids would have to manually do their own one. They can't share that link. I really thought that I had one. Maybe it's in here. It might be at the end of the day. Maybe put it in here. We'll skip it. It's totally fine. Checklist. Okay, so they're saying, or another option is this one, is to do that in slides and docs. So that one is a bulleted list instead. So let's see if I can take this list. Notice I'm really creative and I use the same list over and over again. Sorry. So there's my list, right? Actually, you know what? I want to do it just as text. I'm going to delete that and paste. Formatting. And I'm going to give it a bulleted list. When I click it, I'm going to use the check. And now I've got check boxes off to this side. Okay. But then what the student would have to do is they would have to come in and select their box, right click, and give it a check. And I feel like that would be harder for kids than this one. but then they have to go to 2 different places. So I don't know. I'll teach you both. So again, they would just come in, highlight the one, and check. So you can do it either way. It does not do the cross out for you, unfortunately. I don't know how to do that. But you can still do checklists within the same box as well. All right. I don't even know what's going on down here. We're trying to be cute. All right. Let me make sure I covered all the things because we're pretty close. Okay. So templates and things like that, I'm going to drop a copy of all of this folder on that virtual session list so that you have copies of all of the things that I created in here. So you'll get all of the different versions of things. That way you can get that spreadsheet already done and you can play with it to your heart's content, because I'd much rather you have it and play with it and use it than not. If there's something that doesn't get in there that you do want, don't hesitate to reach out and ask for it. Otherwise, y'all have questions?